the slow. Grip held tight, the storm starts to glow. We sharpen the truth, ready to explode. Can't call out rhinos if you're a rhino. Speak with a mic that bleeds, not a bath to tone. Oh, cash just saints blink while the crowd loses sane. Oh, I spit raw pages, every line a broken homo. Can't be bought, can't be sold. Gave my soul to truth, not gold. We raise the flags while the fake keeps cold.
What's up, Patriots? Tonight, I'm going to be going at it alone. It's been a long day. Maurice is not able to join me, but we got a hell of a take for you guys today, man. I mean, seriously, there's been so much I've learned in the last little bit that we're going to go over. And it's like this, Patriots. Americans who still believe in putting our country first. Let me speak to you from the heart, because the next 20 minutes is, and that's what we're going to do. We're going to about 20, 30 minutes a day. But this is not some polished beltway script. Guys, this is raw truth and how America first got hijacked. Because that's what happened. It got hijacked. Our leaders let Israel come before our own blood and treasure. And how? Time after time, Israel has deliberately targeted the very Iranian officials and scientists that we, the United States of America, were trying to negotiate with. They sabotage the table before we can even sit down. And we keep letting it happen. Let's start with what happened to America first, right? What it actually meant. When President Trump first ran in 2016, he didn't campaign on endless foreign wars or blanket checks to allies who drag us into their fights. He said no more nation building, no more policing the world while our borders bleed, our factories close, and our veterans sleep on the street. America first was about energy, independence, fair trade, and getting out of the Middle East quicksand that had already cost us trillions of dollars and thousands of American lives at the same time. It was about putting American workers, American soldiers, and American families ahead of other flags. So what happened? How do we go from no more endless wars to teaming up with Israel? That's what we did. We teamed up with Israel to go bomb Iran in 2026. Here's, hitting nuclear sites, bridges, terminals, even civilian areas, while a fragile ceasefire is barely hanging on. Actually, it's not, because that just got blown again today by Israel. And Vice President Vance is flying to Pakistan just to get talks started again. And I'll tell you what happened. At the same old pressure, same old lobby, same old story that Israel's security must come before American interests. And every time we try to talk to Iran, every single time we watch Israel take out the people on the other side of the table. Let me tell you the entire story so you completely get it from the beginning. Because the pattern is becoming crystal clear if you're willing to see it. So go back to the Obama years in the original JCPOA nuclear talks, while American diplomats were sitting across from Iranian Minister Javad Zarif. And if I'm butchering these names, I'm sorry. And his whole entire team, they were sitting there with us, trying to hammer out a deal to freeze Iran's nuclear program in exchange for sanctions relief. Israel was running a shadow war between 2010 and 2012. At least 5 Iranian nuclear scientists were assassinated. Majid Sherhari, like I said, if I'm butchering those names, I'm sorry. I'm doing the best I can from memory here. But Darush Razinajad, Mossad Ali, Mohammadi, Mustafa, Amidi, Roshan, and they all blamed Mossad, right? Iran blamed Mossad for all of this. And the Western intelligence actually confirmed it. So these weren't random professors. These were the exact experts who worked on negotiating that we were trying to control at the time. Israel wasn't just opposing the deal. This is what the narrative is, but that's not the truth. Netanyahu was calling it a historic mistake while his operatives were blowing up the Iranian brain trust we needed to verify and enforce the agreement. The campaign was so blatant that even the Obama administration reportedly pressured Israel to stop in 2013 so the talks could actually proceed. And for a while they did. The JCPOA was signed. Obviously, we know that Iran never adhered to the JCPOA, so I'm not endorsing what Obama did, turning the other eye, paying them pallets full of cash. That's not what this is. But I'm going to paint a picture for you today exactly what Israel's role has been behind the scenes this entire time. So fast forward to 2020. Trump is president. He's withdrawn from the JCPOA, as he should have, and reimposed maximum pressure and sanctions, and he's brokering, at the time, the Abraham Accords, historic deals between Israel and Arab states. That's when Israel assassinated Mohan Fakhrizadeh, for whatever, another Iranian scientist, right? I'm not even going to try to pronounce these names anymore. But the man Iran called the father of its nuclear program. And a remote control machine gun on a truck in the middle of the road. Israel never denied it. And this guy wasn't even some low-level technician. He was the guy whose knowledge of the entire nuclear file evolved around what he knew. So you can see how it was spun in the news to make us think, well, they took out these guys that were working for big bad Iran, and, so be it. Because that's what my thought was at the time. At that exact moment, the U.S. was still trying to manage the Iran file. Whether through pressure or future talks, Israel removed a key player from the board. America first? Question mark. Really, guys? Or is it Israel first? Let's continue making our case. Now, come to the last 2 years, 2025 and 2026. The story that should make every America First patriot absolutely pissed off and furious. Trump is back in office. There are back channels and indirect talks trying to revive some kind of nuclear understanding, or at least de-escalate. Iran sends signals that it's willing to talk. And what does Israel do? It launches strikes systematically, decapitates the very Iranian officials and scientists that we need to do the negotiating with. Look at the names, because we have all of them. So the betrayal isn't abstract. In June 2025, during what should have been the delicate talks between Israel, between America and Iran, Israel takes out Ali Shamkhani. Right? He's a senior advisor to the supreme leader and a man literally overseeing Iran's nuclear negotiations with the United States. Once again, Israel sees who we're negotiating with, they cut it off, and they assassinate the guy we're talking to. Iranian officials and journalists openly called it Israel targeting and killing nuclear diplomacy with the U.S. This was the mainstream narrative. Shamkhani wasn't hiding in a bunker plotting attacks on Tel Aviv. He was the mediator, right? And now he's dead. Then the broader war kicks off in late February 2026. U.S. and Israeli strikes on Iranian military sites, as well as nuclear facilities. Leadership. Israel goes after the brain trust again. At least 9, then 14, then reported of 16 top nuclear scientists and engineers like Mohammed Mehdi, Faradon Abbasi, Abdulhamid. I'm not even going to pronounce these names, but there's a ton of names, right? And barely make our news, but whose deaths make any future verification impossible. These are the exact people whose expertise would be needed to monitor any new deal. So you see, every time we get ready to make a deal, Israel goes and takes out the guy we're getting ready to make the deal with. Every time we announce, like J.D. Vance's last deal where he's going over to the Middle East to talk to this guy, Israel targets him the night before. Same guy that we're getting ready to do the negotiating with, Israel takes him out. So to sit across from American or European diplomats and say, this is what we can do verifiably, give it up. Even worse, Israel drew up a kill list that included the actual diplomats, foreign ministers, Abbas, Aragachi, and central figures in past nuclear talks where the parliament speaker, Mohammed Bagar Galibaf, said that right, Trump himself reportedly had to step in and tell Israel to back the hell off. So once again, Israel's undermining the Trump administration, and this is what you're not being told. Pretty soon, we're not going to know anybody. He said the U.S. literally had to ask Israel to remove these men from the targeting list because without them, there would be no one left in Tehran to negotiate with. So what did Trump and his administration do? Stop saying the names of the people we're trying to negotiate with, because every time we report who we're going to negotiate with, Israel targets them. So think about that. America's trying to end the war, and we helped start that in trying to open up a diplomatic off-ramp, and our closest ally is erasing the phone numbers that we need to call. This isn't ancient history. This is right now, April 2026. We have a 2-week ceasefire that's already fragile. President Vance, Vice President Vance, is heading to Islamabad for talks, and Iran is saying, with good reason, every time we come to the table, you or your allies bomb the chairs. Iranian state media, opposition voices, even some Western journalists like Abby Martin and others have said it plainly on air every single time that they have pulled Iran to negotiations, they bomb the negotiators. This is Israel's tactic. And what do we get for it? Higher oil prices because of the Straits of Hormuz getting choked. American service members are at risk. Trillions more in defense spending. While our own southern border, we need to be paying attention to that. We need to be paying attention to the fentanyl in our country. We need to be paying attention to the fraud, waste, and abuse happening in our country. Our manufacturing base is hollowed out. And for what? So Israel can feel safer by making sure Iran never has a functioning nuclear program, which I think we can all agree with. We don't want Iran to have a nuclear functioning program. This is why I was for the war in the offset. But I'm not for all this manipulation and bullshit that Israel's doing behind the scenes to keep us from ending the war, which is what Trump is trying to do. And anyone left to sign a deal that might actually constrain it without war, this isn't an America First issue, guys. This is not where we're at this point. This is an Israel First wearing an American flag pin issue. I'm not here to hate on Israel, but they have a right to defend themselves. But we have a right, indeed, a duty to put our own country first. The America First movement didn't die because American people changed their minds. It was smothered by the same foreign policy blob that always puts someone else's interests ahead of ours. The lobbyists, the think tanks, the endless campaigns, money. They convinced too many in Washington that criticizing any Israeli action somehow is anti-American. Meanwhile, our kids aren't the ones dying in these latest strikes. Our cities aren't the ones getting hit by Iranian missiles in retaliation. Our scientists aren't the ones getting taken out. We are told the Abraham Accords would bring peace. Instead, we got a wider war. We were told a maximum pressure would force Iran to fold. Instead, we got assassinations that made diplomacy impossible. We were in negotiations with one of Iran's top officials live when Israel came in and actually struck the guy, targeted the man while we were live with the guy. This is how far they've gone to interfere in any negotiating tactics we've engaged in with Iran. And it makes diplomacy impossible. Then a hot war that costs American prestige and treasure, it's time to say it out loud. No more blank checks. No more letting any foreign capital, Tel Aviv or anywhere else, Kiev, it doesn't matter, veto America's right to talk directly to its adversaries and cut the deals that serve our interests. If Israel wants to take out Iranian nuclear scientists, that's their call. But when it kills the negotiators that we need, when it forces us into a war that costs the Strait of Hormuz and spikes gas prices at home, when it leaves us with no one to talk to except hardliners who now have nothing left to lose, when it stops being an ally and starts worrying about its own self-defense and starts being the tail wagging the American dog, America first isn't isolationism. It's realism. It's saying our soldiers fight for our flag, our tax dollars rebuild our bridges and secure our borders. Our diplomats negotiate for our security, not someone else's. The people of Iran are not our enemy. The mullahs who chant death to America, they are. But if we let Israel keep removing the moderators and the technocrats who might actually deal with us, all we do is guarantee that the only voices left in Tehran are the ones who want war. So here's the challenge to every America First patriot listening to this right now. Demand our leaders remember who they work for. Demand that the next time Israel draws up a kill list that includes the Iranian foreign minister, we need at the table, we say no. Demand that our blood and treasure serve American families first, always. Because if we don't restore America first, we won't have an America worth fighting for. We've been here before. We know the story, the names. They aren't just footnotes. They're the proof that while we talk about diplomacy, someone else keeps shooting the diplomats we're trying to negotiate with. And it ends when we say it ends. Do you get the point? This is not what we intended it to be. We're being manipulated. So Diddy Girl, Kilburn, what's up, guys? Thank you for tuning in. Yeah, Maurice was unable to join me tonight, but I mean, I've been going through this stuff all day. I read all the news. I read all the back channel stuff, all the press releases, and what they're doing, what they're telling us is bullshit. And what we're trying to do, what the Americans are trying to do, is in this war. Bring our kids home. Stop putting them at risk. But every time we try to do that, and every time we have an avenue out, Israel interferes. And now we're still over there. We're still fighting their war for their needs, for their security. And I'm just saying, what happened to the America First movement? What happened to putting America first? Because that's not what this is. This is not putting America first. This is putting Israel first. MAGA turned into MIGA. That's exactly what's happening. And we need to wake the hell up before, it's too late. Because this is dragging out. And they don't give a shit about us. They obviously don't care about us. Because we're talking about sending in ground troops. What did they say? They wouldn't. They're not going to join us on the ground if we go in on the ground. That's an ally. That's an ally who goes in and takes out the people we're negotiating with every time we set up a meeting. The night before, a missile just happens to hit their home, or we're in a live meeting with them and a missile comes through the roof while we're actually dealing with them. Why aren't you guys being told this on national TV? Why isn't Fox reporting this? Why isn't even CNN reporting this? Because it's what's happening. It's exactly what's happening, and it's getting old very, very quickly. Guys, Vice President J.D. Vance said it earlier. No one said they're sending in ground troops, Kentucky man. What they discussed was if we send in ground troops, and what Israel said is they're not. Regardless of what we do, they're not. And yet we've set up over 6 different meetings with different people. And every single time we set up a meeting with someone, we announce their name, Israel takes them out within 24 hours before we have a chance to meet with them, including one that we were on live with in the middle of negotiations. So America first needs to be America first. That's what it needs to be. What happened to that? Everyone's such a hardliner that no one can think for themselves. There's no critical thinking whatsoever going on in our party anymore. No critical thinking going on in the MAGA movement. I doubt it, because I spoke to several people that were highly pissed off about what's going on. Several people who have the ability to think for themselves instead of being an echo chamber for every damn thing that comes across the blotter on Fox News. We need to take back our movement. That's what we need to do. We need to take back our movement, because we need to start acting in America's interest, not Israel's interests. Because that's what Israel's blowing up our deals every single time we set one up. Every single time we have a way out, they go in and destroy it. Every single time we have someone to negotiate with, they end up dead. Intentionally. This is why the Trump administration said, stop announcing their names. Stop putting their names out, because every time we put their names out, they end up dead within 24 hours. So the Trump administration is trying to set an off-ramp to get us to freak out of there, and Israel wants us there. Israel wants us there, so this is what they're doing to keep us there, to keep us fighting for their benefit, not ours, their benefit. Because we've already done everything that we set out to do. In fact, they told you what the enrichment capability was up to, the 400 kilograms of uranium was up to 60%, and they could have it to 90% within 2 weeks, which is weapons grade. Well, that's not the line for building a nuclear weapon. Having the enriched uranium at weapons grade is only one part to the nuclear weapon, which we took out, which we already did away with. Because I was the one last year telling the Iranian reporter, yeah, we should go to war with you. Absolutely. You guys are talking so tough and doing all these things to the United States, to everybody, to all of our bases, taking out our troops, doing these things, and you're not even saying you're not doing them. You're widely publicizing it. I agree with going into Iran. What I don't agree with is not giving the Trump administration the ability to negotiate and taking out the people that we're trying to negotiate with every time we set a meeting and announce the name. You're still not listening to me, Kentucky man, at all. Zero, bro. Zero. Because what I'm telling you is the same thing the Trump administration is telling you. They've set 5 different meetings. 5 different meetings. And every time we set up a meeting, we announce the name, the individual ends up dead. Huck, where are you saying PT? What is PT? I don't know what PT is. You can tell me what PT is. I might be able to tell you why I'm not there. But no, here's the thing. And like I said, Vance said it earlier today, and he was talking to the black pillars. And he's like, yeah, you should have the ability to disagree with the movement, but you don't leave the movement. You still got to stay in it and fight to put it back to where you want it to be. And that resonated with me. It really did, because that is exactly where we have been for the longest time, fighting to take the movement back to where it started, not allowing other people to come in and hijack it and turn it into something that it was never meant to be. And that's exactly what Israel's doing. It's exactly what Israel's doing. That's exactly what they were doing at CPAC. That's exactly why Ted Cruz was the one up there on stage. That's exactly why they had all those damn Zion podcasts around the stage there. This is all to try to brainwash the people who would question it. And then if you question it, you're not part of the movement. Oh, you're not in the club. You're not in the right, left, black, white, red, blue, liberal, conservative, Republican, Democrat squares. Because you are on your own path. You're in a third square, so you just don't belong anywhere. No, we stand for what exactly Trump initially started this movement off to be. So when someone else tries to come in and hijack it and take it left or right or whatever they want to take it, we're like, hell no. And yet there are people so brainwashed in the middle of this thing that they can't see exactly what's going on. And all they do is reiterate whatever they hear on TV. I'll give you one. So they said, the Iranians forced their citizens onto the bridge to make a human chain against their will. No, they didn't. They announced it on TV, exactly what Trump said in the Truth Social post. And those people came out all on their own and formed a human chain. They didn't go there by force of weapons, getting dragged out of their houses. No, that's bullshit. Whoever is spreading that rumor, it's full of it. We went into Iraq this same way. The Iraqis were not against the United States. They were surrendering to reporters. They had welcomed us. But what we did after that turned the Iraqi people against us. This is exactly what's going to happen in Iran right now if we don't understand that we went there to liberate the Iranians, because they killed, 32,000 of their own citizens, the ones who revolted and went into the streets and protested against the administration. Now what? We've beaten the people back. I mean, the IRGC, we beat them back. We got rid of their nuclear, any ability for them to have a nuclear stockpile or uranium that they could even think about creating a weapon with. And yet, we're still there. Why are we still there when we've accomplished what we said we came to do? Trump already announced the regime change occurred. So the only reason we're there is because every time we try to negotiate to get out, Israel bombs something else. They just did it again with Hezbollah. In the middle of the ceasefire Trump negotiated, Israel broke it again and bombed another site. Guys, listen, if you don't wake up and realize that it's America first and America only, you're going to be led down every primrose path that they can lead you down, and you're not going to wake up until you've lost the entire movement, and that's it. That's the point. That is exactly the point, Kentucky, man. We're not allowing them to do this. The reason they're doing this is because every single time we get to the negotiating table, Israel takes out the guy who's sitting down to negotiate with us that would maybe help us open up the Straits of Hormuz. But if every time we go to sit down in good faith with these people, Israel is going behind our backs to kill the guy negotiating with us, it's not going to happen. That's the point that we're trying to make. We all want the Straits open. We all want all this happening. None of us want Iran. This is the thing you guys don't understand. I'm not against Trump or the Trump administration. I can completely disagree with something he does and still be on the side of the right. It's still be a conservative. The idea that I have to live inside of one square or the other, or anyone does, that's the bullshit right there. So, yes, the Straits of Hormuz needs to be open. But do you think the way to get it open is every time we're getting ready to negotiate with these people in good faith, we go and take out the guy getting ready to negotiate with us? No, it destroys trust. It destroys any ability for us to negotiate, and it extends the war, and it allows Israel to keep going in and taking out their infrastructure and going after things that are going to turn the people against us, but they don't care. Just look at Gaza, and you tell me that was tactical. Tell me that was tactical. Tell me that was tactical when all that's left of the buildings is fine dust. What do you think they want to do? They don't care. They think they have a mandate from God to just destroy their enemies totally and completely, and they don't care about anyone in the middle. The civilians, none of that shit. They do not care. And Gaza should prove that. And just because I say that about Gaza, you think that I'm for Hamas? I'm not. You think I'm for the Palestinians? I'm not. but I'm not for Israel either. I'm just calling this shit down the middle. Genocide's wrong no matter who does it. It doesn't matter who does it. It's wrong no matter who does it. So yeah, I mean, that's the point that I'm trying to make. I would hope out of this, what you do is you go look up the things I'm talking about, actually read about how many of the negotiators Israel has taken out, and then look at the timeline of when the Trump administration was going to negotiate with them. And then look when Israel went in behind our backs. Look at every time the United States set a ceasefire and how Israel went in and broke the ceasefire intentionally because they don't want the war to stop. They are trying to extend it. It doesn't matter. That's Israel's problem. Give a shit. If Israel wants to go do their own business and fight this war, let them. It's not our problem. That's Israel's issue. That's the whole point. Because the idea was that they would never have to worry about nuclear weapons. Right? Nuclear weapons, which is something Iran doesn't have. Nuclear weapons. So if we're talking about the reasons why us, the United States, us, went there, we went there to topple the IRGC, get rid of the Ayatollah, and remove any ability for them to make a nuclear weapon. Done. Check, check, check. Done. So what are we trying to do now? What is Trump trying to do now? Negotiate a way out. And Israel's not letting him do it. I don't know how that's hard to understand. Israel's not giving us the opportunity and the ability to do the things that we need to do in order to exit this war and stop putting our children in our country at risk while we're paying top dollar for everything and we're less safer the longer we stay there. That's the reality. So guys, I hope that I've painted a clear enough picture. I hope that you understand now. Because this is what we're up against. We're up against a propaganda war that is facilitated by our media and our supposed ally that is just using and abusing the United States might to benefit them, not us. And that's not what America First is. America First is America first. Plain and simple. And as usual, guys, the silent majority, you need to stop being silent and stand your ground because evil never retreats willingly. It must be beaten back. Have a great one. We'll be on Friday at the normal time. Maurice and I will be sitting down. I am traveling. I'm going to a few states. So while I'm on the road, I'll still be doing this. So definitely tune in. Check us out on Facebook as well, at the Patriots Prayer on the Facebook page as well. We're also open up a Twitch channel, pill.net, Facebook, Rumble, of course, at rumble.com/the Patriots Prayer. Diddy Girl, yes, because while I'm out here, I'm going to be next week. I'll be at a speaking engagement talking to some Christians that feel the same way as I do. So yeah, there's just a lot going on right now, and everything that the hardliners that just don't want to listen to reason and don't understand the reality of what a lot of people are saying right now. This is why people like Dan Bongino are not in administration anymore. They're not. Why did they leave? Because they want to come after people asking these questions. They don't like people telling you what I'm telling you. They don't want this type of information out there. But I promise you, go, if you're on X, go to Grok. It doesn't matter. Just go do the research and see what Israel's actually doing and stop falling for it. Guys, have a great night. We'll see you the day after tomorrow, 6:30. Have a great one. Be safe and think for yourself. Don't let these people tell you what to think.
Sometimes night gears hum low. Guitars bend, pads breathe in the slow. Grip held tight, the storm starts to grow.